Yeah.
All right. Welcome everybody. We are live, Ladies Night Live. We got Yoda and Terminator here. So, they both, I know Terminator has a lot of stuff to talk about. She's briefed us on some of it backstage. So, and then, Terminator, Lucy, why don't you go ahead and dive right in and tell us all about it?
Which one? Only kidding. Well,
pick one subject and go
I
with
can tell you
that
a
one.
lot, but I won't go about my. I've talked enough about the first thing I talked to you is about that. I got to stop talking because it bothers me. But anyways, I met a lady today. I went to my community fair, and I met a lady today, and her name is Isabel, and she's from the PPC, People's Party of Canada. And I was thinking about what Yoda's been doing, and everybody in the community in Kansas and Jackson County. I think it's Jackson County, isn't it? Anyways, she wants me. Actually, she wanted me to join, but I signed everything there was because it's all to do with freedom and all to do with how we can expose what our government's doing and what they're doing wrong. And there was a lot of topics that she was throwing at me, and she was asking my opinion, and of course I give it straight answer. And there was a few people there, but there was 3 or 4, a gentleman, and he come right up to me and he turned around and he says, "I don't know you, but I need to know you." And I said, "Well, and he goes, "Well, are you from here or are you from the city?" I said, No, I never live in a city. I'm from here, from my community. I would never live in a city." And he turned around, he says, "We need more people like you on the committee and more people to join." I said, "Well, I'll sign anything. I don't know if I want to join yet. I got to know what I'm getting myself into." And, because I'm not a real smart person, but I do speak my mind. When I got something to say, I just say it, and I don't care if the government likes it or not. But we were talking about our land, and I was telling her what my son told me about. What's that?
I'm sorry.
Anyways.
Aaron Scott just came in.
Anyways.
And then you cut out.
Oh, okay. I was telling him about the land and about what my son said about our new bylaw officer. Apparently he's a real PRICK, and he's been going around and checking everybody's property. And if he doesn't like what he sees, he gives you a certain time to clean up or do this or do that. And if you don't have it done, he hires a company. And of course, one of the companies that he does hire with bins is where my son works. They go in, they clean it. He hires the crew and everything. And then you got to pay the bill after. And the lady's already $46,000 in debt. Wow. Yeah, because they only gave her like a month to clean her property to his standards. So I said to her, "Well, they're not going to come on my damn property." And I used this language. I said, "They're not coming on my damn property. I got my big signs up." She said, "You got to have 3 signs. If you have road frontage, you have one big, huge sign on each corner and then one on every driveway you have."
Mm-hmm.
And they can't, and you got to fence it and make sure your gates are closed, because when you leave your gate open, that's saying you're welcome to come into my doorstep.
That is accurate, even in the United States. Yeah, accurate, even in the U.S. And so we even do a no trespassing directly on the gate. And so they know. So here, if they want to come on, then they have to serve you, basically mail you something and say, "Let's make an appointment." And then pretty much we just decide if we're going to call or not. But we're making enough stir that so far, knock on wood, we've been lucky, no real problems. But now we're making enough stir and making the paper enough that I'm expecting it anytime. However, we also kept, well, I'll go into that later, but we caught some commissioners. The rules apply for thee and not for me. And it is all recorded. All the way down to the noxious weeds that line their entire property. So.
But the lady asked the lady that Isabel, she said that if I sign the petition, the one petition, she has to have so many names signed for her to be able to join. She'll join during the fall elections, but she can't run. But she has to be able to join. She's got to have so many signatures. Mm-hmm. So she was already on her 4th page.
Right, oh, right. Wow. I let me address something real quick, if you don't mind. So Tamara says Tamara says I have the no trespassing purple signs. Well, the purple, a lot of people around here up in the Midwest will spray paint that. That's no trespassing for hunting. You didn't literally post no trespassing on there. County doesn't care. Just FYI. And so you do with it what you decide. But
mine are big black and yellow ones.
We've had trespassing signs that say, no trespassing. Crap. Oh yeah. Trespassers will be shot, and then survivors will be shot again.
I'm not sure how that would work. I think that would set you up for a great big huge lawsuit, but I don't know. I worry about that. I have a big swamp. I have a big swamp in the back. It can go down deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure Ashley's like, go ahead and see me. How do you get blood out of a turnip? I say that all the time. I'm like, go ahead. What are you gonna get?
Yep. Really?
Anyway, this lady from the PPC, People's Party of Canada, I'm hoping to go to a what is that called again? The festival here in Ontario for the Ontario Homesteaders. Yeah, Homesteaders of Ontario, Canada. They're going to have another get together in the same location. So this fall, I'm just waiting because we can just drive right there, pay at the door. We pay $5 to go in, and it helps for whatever. And my neighbor's going to go with me, and we're going to go there. But this lady from the Canadian Party here, these People's Party, wants me to contact them to see if they would be interested in her setting up another table. It's just like another vendor for them, right? And the more vendors they get, the better. And if we can bring some of this into that. And I was explaining to her last year when I went, there was a lady there, actually 3 ladies at a table from our Parry Sound district, and they were to do with landowners. I've got all the paperwork for that and the rules and regulations for landowners for us, what we go follow under. And there's a lot of stuff to really take in. I don't understand some of it, but I understand quite a bit of it. So if I put these 2 people together, and have them at the Homesteaders community thing, she's going to be able to get more signatures. They're going to bring out more. And the thing is the freedom that went on over in our city of Ottawa with all the truckers and the farmers and everything. One of the gentlemen that was there, he was with the government, but he stepped away and he started with that, and they arrested him and he was in jail for a while. So now he's head of this PPC. And I can't remember, she was supposed to give me a pamphlet, but there were so many people that took the pamphlets, she ran out of pamphlets, so she couldn't give me another one. But
it was the same way at the Liberty Alliance meeting, yeah.
Yeah, so, but he's head of it, but she's actually from this community. A couple of the gentlemen and the other 2 ladies, they were from about 40 minutes away from another town, but a little larger town. Okay. And so they're just trying to bring awareness and everything. But like I told them what you guys do. If you're going to go to a government meeting or whatever, or a council meeting or whatever, don't go alone. Don't go by yourself, because they're just going to walk right over top of you. They'll run over you with like a bulldozer. I said, bring a crowd. Yep. And it's better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
And she said that's good advice. And I told her that I learned it all from you guys.
Oh, well, thank you.
My Freedom family.
I'll let everybody know.
And Yoda, I was wearing your T-shirt today with your logo on it, with the frying pan. My rules, my kitchen. I was wearing that, and I was exploiting it all over. I'm proud of that T-shirt.
Now you need the "Don't Be an Angry Pecker" T-shirt, and then wear that out in public and see the looks that you get.
Oh, I would.
Funny. And
You'd
then
be surprised what I'd wear out in public.
Yeah, I have another one that we're doing. We've got the prototypes already made, and we just got to get them ordered. But I got to get through a few festivals. There's some things here we have to take care of. And that one says it's got the spray paint of the outline of the AR on it. And it says that question right there is why I have to carry a gun. And so, you know, if anybody in America knows what Biden said. And so we were like, or that statement right there is why I carry a gun. And so, you know, when your own government says we own everything, we own the airplanes, we own the aircraft carriers, and you own nothing, that's a problem. So we had those T-shirts done. It's kind of funny. Actually, can't remember if it was Rabbit Coyote. Can't remember who it was. They were the ones that actually suggested it. So we had it made. We were like, that's a great T-shirt. Let's do that. Yeah. So, hopefully we'll have those for sale here pretty soon. But
it's funny that T-shirt tag got made for me. What would Terminator do with the old lady dancing with? I think it's with the broom or pitchfork and the those running shoes. I still can't wear it because my biceps are too big. It's too tight on my biceps.
Oh no. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So I just keep it as a souvenir.
Oh, she froze up again.
No.
There you are.
Did I freeze up? No. She's sitting there quietly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a little mouse.
I've never heard that before. I'm confused. I'm joking with you. Just joking. You know I love you. So we were like, that's what I was telling Jonathan. He's like, what live are you getting on? I said, Ladies Night Live. And he's like, who's on there? And I said, well, usually, I said, always Little Miss Prepper. I said, and then I try to get in when I can. I said, Terminator tries to get in and do that kind of thing. And he was like, oh my gosh, she's so funny. And, you know, we talked and this and that. And I said, oh, in our, what is that? Not Discord.
Show the biceps. Anyways, to show my biceps? No, they're not big. They're a woman's bicep.
What's the one on Thursday nights, Lucy, that everybody gets on and talks to each other? I can't remember the name of it.
That's on Homesteading.
It's through.
That's with, and there's none this week. Yeah, there's none this week. That's
because we have camp, but it's through Homesteading, but it's actually on a different. It's on a different program. I'll have to ask Jonathan, but anyway, so they do that and they get to talk back and forth to each other. But I told him, I said, if you think she's funny there, I said, you need to get on the Girls Night Live and just listen to her go. And so he's like,
I could talk and talk.
Oh,
guess what my nickname was?
It would be different if it wasn't interesting. No, you were full. You were like a fountain of information.
Oh, yeah, shit.
You broke down the chicken, you know, I was like, you're like, well, maybe if you just roast it for, you know, on a slow cooker and all of that. Remember, I was having the problem. The chicken was too tough. I'd already cooked it 24 hours. And I'm like, I wonder what would happen. And while you were talking to me, I reached over and I put it on a slow cook. I let that thing go for overnight. And I checked it the next day. It was falling apart. Yeah, it took 2 days to do, but it was falling apart. And I didn't have to throw the chicken out. I was able to use it. So super exciting. So thank you.
You know, my mother-in-law, she's passed years, but she was born in 1913. She's learned to cook the old way. And whenever they had an old rooster that to throw, you know how older chickens can get tough.
Yeah.
She'd take one of those old you can do pickles in them, you know, those cement, whatever those, and crocks. Anyways, and she'd throw it in there with vinegar and water, and she'd leave it for 24 to 48 hours, and it softened everything right up. Then she'd throw it in the pot and cook it on the wood stove.
Okay, well, that's good to know too. So austere times, that'll be the perfect way to do it. Yeah.
I wish the picture wasn't on my good phone that I'm on because we butchered our pigs on Saturday. This is a story. We butchered the pigs on Saturday. And I said, whatever pig comes out first is whatever pig comes out first. And my daughter says, I don't care. Just get them ready. I'm ready here to start skinning because she's the skinner. My son-in-law, the one that shoots them and guts them. And then I'm the one that usually helps hold while he's gutting and I hold the legs or whatever. Anyways, I turn around and I got the gate open and the smallest one, Jesse, came out. That's named after my grandson. He came out and 15 minutes. He wouldn't sit still. He wouldn't stand still or anything. He kept looking around and rooting. And my son-in-law said, boy, these guys are rooters. So my daughter's got earplugs. He's got earplugs. He uses the rifle, right? And I run in the barn and I put my ears in my fingers in my ears so I can't hear the loud pop. Finally, he does them, gets them done. She's skinning. And because when he gets, he uses the side-by-side with the winch and he's got a thing to hook up high up in a tree. And what he does is bear and deer with. Anyways, when he gets it up there, he guts it and everything, and she starts skinning it. I said, well, don't forget to save the feet for me. So they throw the feet over to the corner. I said, oh, I need the head. I grabbed the head, put the head to the corner over by a tree. And then he says, okay, let's go do the next one. And while she's getting that skinned, I can get it, wash it down, gut it, whatever, right? Let it bleed out and whatever. So we go back to the barn. I go in. And because I have 2 stalls where I had my horses and I come through where my hallway is, what I call my hallway you might as well call it a breezeway in the barn. And I put skids up. So it'll bring them out and they stand just tight enough for them to stand and nibble a bit or root a bit. Well, sure enough, David wants to come out. Well, Jesse was 200 pounds, 200.4 pounds, which is big enough for us. Yeah. And so David comes out, the one named after my son. And 2 seconds and boom, he drops them. Does the same thing. It was so freaking funny. Him and I dragged. Oh, we got these big hooks you can use for bales of hay. And we're dragging him. I help him drag. And we get up to the tractor. And he tries to lift it with the backhoe part. Wouldn't even lift the backhoe part. Wouldn't even lift the pig. And so he flipped the tractor around. He brought the bucket and it's got holes in the end of the bucket. So we put a hook. He says, I'll use this hook. He uses the hook from out of his freezer, goes to lift it, and the pig is so heavy it straightens the hook straight. It drops the pig. So we turn around and we use one of the big, I call it a can hook, where you move straw bales, hay bales with. Yeah. We put that in and it was solid. So we put the weigh scales on it. They got digital weigh scales. He was 246 pounds. And we got him done. So, and then the last one wouldn't come out. And of course, that's stupid Leonard. That's my husband's name. So I get to call him stupid now and then. And I yelling at him and I told him to behave himself. So he finally comes out. Well, after this is all done, I've got 3 heads sitting over there and all the feet. So my son-in-law took the first pig and he's only 15 minutes from his house. So he whipped it out and put it in the cooler that he's got. And by the time he got back, I had the 3 heads washed, scrubbed down, cleaned, ready for if I want to cook or whatever, and all the feet and everything. I went and dug through the guts and cleaned out the heart, the liver. I took all that. And I put them all in my wagon, and I have this white plastic tray thing. And my wagon, I use it for everything. And what does he do? He says, this is for Leonard. He's in the redhead pig. He opens up the mouth and he sticks a can of beer in it. So I took a picture of these pigs. I take a picture of these pigs, and it's on this phone. And this pig has got an empty can of Budweiser beer in it. And we get up there, and my husband comes out of the cabin, and he says, "What's so funny over here?" And because my daughter's getting ready to leave because she's got the other 2 pigs on her truck to take to the cooler. And I said, "Oh, here, come over here." And I had a blanket over it so he wouldn't see it right away. "I'm supposed to show you this. This is especially for you. This is how we plug your mouth." And I open up the blanket and he looks at the pig with the beer can in his mouth. And my son-in-law is just cracking up, laughing, and my daughter-in-law is laughing. And they say, "What are you going to do with it?" So I've got them frozen in my freezer. So we get a really cool day. I'm going to cook them. I got to cut, the eyes, the brains, and the tongue out. And then I'm going to cook them down so the meat will fall off. And I'm making homemade head peas. Oh, Yoda. It's only meat and onions. I'm going to spice it up and
Mm.
some onions. And I'm going to put some cayenne pepper in it because we eat a lot of cayenne pepper.
As soon as you called it jelly, I was like over it, like done. So it's like, no.
So you don't eat that canned meat stuff? Everybody goes spam?
No, not on purpose. If I was starving, I would. But I do like.
Yeah, because that's the way it's made.
I grew up on spam and potatoes. That's the same thing. The jelly portion or the meat portion? Because you told me that
Both.
it was both. So what do you do? Just put them together?
When they make it, yeah. Well, when you make it, and when you look at, if you go in a grocery store and see what their head cheese looks like, there's a little bit of gel around the outside, but inside it's all meat. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's your pork. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, he loves meat. Grumpy's like a spam guy, and we grew up because I grew up during the Iranian missile crisis, and so sometimes, and this is so ironic because it's so freaking expensive now. All we would eat is spam, potatoes, and onion mixed together, and I needed ketchup to get that down. But you know, Garen will fry up spam on purpose.
My husband,
Garen will eat spam right out of the can. But Garen also has that Marine Corps iron stomach, so he'll eat anything.
Hey,
all American,
I eat raw meat, so it doesn't bother me.
On his spam.
Yeah, the Garen's
spam. My husband calls. Yeah, my husband calls spam dog food.
So how come everybody calls it head cheese, which sounds disgusting? Why not just call it spam?
Because it's basically the meat off the head of the hog. And back in the 1800s, 1700s, when they butchered pigs, they ground up all the eyes, the brains, the tongue. They grind it up all into the meat.
Mm-hmm.
And as like my mother didn't. She just, you take the head, you cut it, clean all that out, you cut it in half, and you know how the jaws and all that, and the cheeks and everything. Everybody loves that meat. Well, you just put it in a big pot, cook it. Yeah, you cook it really slow and just let everything fall off the bones. Then you just like when you're going to debone a chicken body, you take all the meat off the bones.
So yeah, you're doing it with the meat. You're doing a broth basically, but taking it further and further.
Yeah, okay. And if you do it with the pig feet and with the head, there's enough the fat and everything. It makes enough gelatin itself. You don't have to put artificial gelatin in it.
So this is what kind of freaks me out. And so they're asking, do they use the brains to make the hog head cheese? And I thought you said yes, that you were only taking eyeballs.
Yeah, years ago they did. My mother never did because she knew none of us would eat it. But years ago, back in when there was no power, no hydro, 1800s or whatever, that's what they used. They just used it all. There was never a waste. I even take the ears and let the ears boil in because there's, I guess there's underneath the skin, there's the muscle of the ear, but there's, there's, and they try to take all the juices and everything from it, which helps make the gelatin. Yeah. It makes its own natural gelatin.
Has anyone here had sweet meat? So Starla, as a matter of fact, I cooked some tonight. So Garen and them over it. I made rabbit. I did an Italian roasted rabbit tonight. And because Jonathan's here, he brought us one of his rabbits his very first one that he butchered. He's very proud of that. So I made him a really, really nice dish and showed him how to make it because he's looking for recipes and that kind of thing. The rabbit was a little too small for a single guy. It's perfect. But I showed him, okay, now you're missing the bacon and the tenderloins could be bigger. You could have had sausage. You could have, so I kind of walked him through everything and he's like, oh, okay, I get it. And I'm like, if your rabbit was bigger and you just let it go for a little bit longer. And he's like, I did this because I have a house sitter coming that has to feed all of them. And I did not want that person overwhelmed. So I was like, totally get it. We're going to make it work. And we made it work. I came up with it. Well, I found a recipe, switched everything over to US conversions, traded up some of the spices and that kind of thing. Oh my God, we were all dying. We're all like laying here going, do we really have to set up for the live and graze animals? We're dying. It was just so good. So good.
That's good.
Yeah. Hey, Moose Man. Yeah. So, and I've got the recipe I was willing to share, but if we have all these people on here and 0 likes, like Aaron said, y'all don't get the recipe. Or you can make sure you like it and go get a pen and paper, and I'll give you the recipe. It's going in the cookbook, so the only way you can get it is if you buy it.
Good.
Yep.
Good. I need another cookbook for my collection.
Yeah. I got a question.
What's that?
Have you had Mexican
Barbara. Is it Barbera?
Yeah. And so gotta roll that R. And but she would know how to pronounce it. If she was on here, she'd be like all over it. Mine, I haven't spoken Spanish in so long, except for taco. So burrito, enchilada.
I have a new book. My sister-in-law gave me this book. It's from Ontario. And I'll read it because you probably won't be able to see it. It's called it's Richard's Seeds, Plants, Dried Herbs, and More. Herbs and Vegetable Catalog. And they said herb of the year was the yarrow. Have you ever heard of yellow yarrow?
Yes, we have it here. That's how our yarrow is. It's yellow here. Yeah, seriously.
See, and mine is white. My yarrow is white.
I know of the white yarrow too. So what she meant, it was misspelled, and she meant barbecue, Mexican barbecue. Starla, we have even whole roasted hogs. I'm well aware of that. Goats are the same way. It's the whole body when you roast it. Yes, I have had that. Do I purposely open up the head and only eat the brain? No, I do not. And so, but I've also never been in a starving situation either. And so, I guess if I had to, I probably would. And I'd be like, hey, Grumpy, can you grind this for me? And don't tell me what it is. I'll just figure out how to put it together and maybe do a bologna or something like that. And hot dog or whatever. Because everybody knows, like, most hot dogs are just chicken lips, buttholes, and that kind of thing. And beaks, So, everybody knows that. So it would just be kind of the same situation. So as long as I don't know what's in there, I wouldn't care. I just figure out how to serve it. But there is something to it because we have roasted whole hog. I've had to deal with everything, breaking it down and all of that. Goes a lot of the Mexican weddings and all of that same way. Hawaiian weddings I've been to, they roast the whole hog. That's nothing new for me. God only knows what I've eaten because I grew up mostly, when we wanted to party or I played with friends and that kind of thing. We were in Tijuana. And so eating off of the street carts and that kind of thing, I could have eaten dog and cat. Just don't tell me that I did. I don't care. It was all delicious. So, yeah. So Yoda, when you butcher, I'm assuming she means your own, you don't eat the tongue. Of course I do. That'd be dumb not to eat the tongue. But I know how to make it. The tongue is one of the best muscles. Tongue is one of the best muscles, especially in a cow. And so I actually showed a friend. She's like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm like, girl, that is your best steak. You can even do a roast out of that kind of thing. She's like, I don't know how to do it. And I said, tell you what, give me all the tongue that you have, because they had a bunch of cattle butchered and she had it and she was thinking about dog food. And I said, no, don't do that. I said, let me cook it down for you. I'll peel, you peel the lining back. And so you're left with that meat. I cut everything into steaks and all of that, freeze dried it for her. So now everything that she has a 30-year shelf life on it. And I'm like, now that it's cooked, it's seasoned, all of that's done, have at it. You won't know the difference. And so I did not label it tongue. I was just like, when you're hungry. And so that's what that is. But yeah. So no, I've had it. I've seen it all. I just don't. Just because I've seen it all doesn't mean I want it all. So,
hey, it can't be no worse than eating prairie oysters, what everybody calls prairie oysters. I don't know what you guys call it. Same thing. You know what I mean?
Garen loves them. It's a delicacy actually here. And so
it is.
Yeah, Garen loves them. In fact, we save all of our testicles. And so if nobody knows, that's what they are. And so we save all the testicles. And Garen usually has them for breakfast. And so, yeah, but those are a delicacy here because you only get them when you're butchering. And so
that's right.
Yeah. Yep. Mountain oysters. Yep. Timber. You're right. That's what we call them. So, yeah. So it's just like I'm asking questions and I'm doing all that, but a hog on purpose, boiling it, the head, boiling it and doing all of that I have not done. I'm not going to lie, but, hey, old dogs can learn new tricks. So I'll figure it out. If I'm going to do that. If I'm going to do that, though, I want you to build me a really nice tripod and get one of those great big huge cauldrons to do it outside, because I know
guess what? You know those big cauldrons that you hang over a tripod?
Yeah.
I have one sitting here in my yard that I'm going to give a good clean. It's all die cast, big heavy die cast, like the old witch's brew type. I have a big one. My son had it given to him. It was given to him in a scrap load.
Yeah, that's what I would like.
It.
Yeah, I would. And I see a lot of the farmers out here have them, and there's plants inside them. I'm like, what are you doing? And so I really just, unfortunately, it's full of soil. No way can I lift that up. And not that I'm that type of person, but I'm not going to lie, I'm human. I thought about it. Just stopping by and getting somebody else with me. Hey, I think between the two of us, we can get this in the bed of the truck. Let's go. And so I'll find one. When it's meant to be, I'll find one. And the Lord will make sure that I have everything in my path and accessible to me. So I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah, this one here, I'm going to pull out, give it a good scrub down and clean it. And then I'm going to have it set up.
Yeah. And
then I can do all my cooking in it. Yeah. In big, huge batches.
Yeah. I don't know. How many likes do we have in there, Erin? Do you know? Erin was keeping track of that. She's like, likes are pretty. So if she tells me, Erin, you give me the go-ahead when I can share that recipe, and I will. But if we don't have the same amount of likes, and that's nothing to ask, guys. It's free. And then make a comment. That helps the algorithm too. You want to help everybody out.
Oh, yeah.
So if you do that, I'll share the recipe with you. If you don't, then the ladies get it backstage. Backstage pass only. That's where it's
5 likes.
5? Okay. Erin, you tell me when to go. But I know we got more people in here now. So interesting. It's very interesting. So unfortunately, beloved Manfred, for those of us that watch our videos and they're always like, what is that clicking noise? And then many all know it's Manfred, and his sound has become a pastry of the background. You will notice tonight it is no longer. He will be missed. He will be missed. But I
missed that clicking noise.
Yeah, he passed yesterday, and it was long overdue. And so, but he's in a better place, and I can hear my mom now. Would you stop getting all these damn animals? I'm tired of taking care of them. They're all up in heaven, and mom is being a farmer, even though she don't want to be a farmer. So
I have down by my apple tree, I have a small oak tree, and that's our pet cemetery. Yeah. And when my husband dug the hole, I put my little guy down in there, and I filled it in. Then I built it up with beautiful black soil, and I had a little beautiful rose bush given to me that grows like a carnation. And I haven't figured out where I was going to put it. Well, it's at the head of him. And then my daughter comes, because she was close to him too. And my daughter and son-in-law come over, and they come with a bottle of cherry whiskey and a little brown paper bag. She said, come on, Mom. She gave me a hug, and she says, come on, let's go over and see Cooter. Let's go visit Cooter. And we were talking and everything. And she says, he reminds me so much of Dukes of Hazzard. That song's in my head. And I said, what do you mean? She said, he reminds me so much of the Duke of Hazzard. I said, well, he was named after Cooter, the tow truck driver. Yep. I always thought he was crazy and, And so she started humming that tune. Yep. And then she turned around and she says, they opened up the cherry whiskey, got the little shot glasses out. And she says, let's give him a cheer. So we gave him a cheer, downed it. I think we had 4 each by the time we were done. And then they said, here, Mama, this is for you. You're the one that's going to put it. I unwrapped it, and it's an actual little headstone with a little dog. And it has a beautiful little thing and about your best friend. And so I set it down there. I turned around and walked away, and sure enough, down came the tears. Terminator was broken down, crying. And my son-in-law says, no, Mom, don't. You're going to get me going. My daughter grabbed me and gave me a hug. And the last 3 days, it's been hard because every time I walk outside, he's right there waiting for me, and he's not there, and I'm looking for him constantly. So you're going to be looking for your guy over and over and over, and it's so hard because
you know what?
He's was going to be 14. Long time.
What's really strange for me is that the girls who were so terrified of him, as he was hurting and he was in pain, and we knew what was happening, they did too, and they actually said their goodbyes, and that was interesting. And all day today, they've been looking for him. They've been all over the property looking for him, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And I know they know, but I think it's just repetition and pattern. They're used to seeing what they see. Yeah. And so they're having a hard time gathering it. So they've been very, very close and sticking to G and I, and not really wanting to be anywhere else. And especially G, since G had to do the deed, and that was very hard for him. They know what he's feeling, and they're not leaving his side. So it's been very, very interesting. But we appreciate that. Our animals, that's what they do. They're there to know us and alarm us when something's wrong and that kind of thing. So it's sad the way it happened, but G and I are very relieved that he's gone to a better place right now. But I did find a very, very cool, I'm going to go ahead and get the large one. I think it's like 30 or 36 inches. And it's die cast metal. It's the iron cutting. I forget what you call it, but you take the black iron and you cut into it. And it's a German Shepherd that's on there. And then it has Manfred's name in it, cut out. Laser cutting? I think it's laser cutting. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. And then it has his year in it, which would be, I calculated everything. It would be 2013 to 2013. No, not 2013. What the hell? So excuse me. 2013 to 2024. And so I was like, that would be perfect. And then we're thinking about going ahead and planting some kind of fruit tree back there. And then I've got a bench that I'll just make a cushion for and paint it. And it's got like a lattice canopy over it. Him and I we had that at the Pleasant Hill property, and him and I used to sit in that together quite a bit. So I'm going to move that over there. And, so I've got a plan. I just got to get it ordered and all of that. But I was super excited to find that one. But again, with tractors and side by side or zero turns and all that stuff breaking down, it's hard to justify spending that kind of money because it is like $150. And so, it's hard to justify that, right? So, I know it's there. The fruit tree will do the same thing. And so, but someday,
Yeah. Well, see, my dog, he was born here. We had his mother here. He was born here and he died here. This was his home. Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I got to tell you this story. I don't know if I already told you the story about this poor dog when he was a puppy with my granddaughter. My granddaughter here that lives here on the property, she was 2 years old when he was born. She's taking it hard. She's still really hitting. It's still really hit because she spent every day with him. And when he was, his mother had the puppies out in a dog coop. She was outside running around, and we didn't know when she was going to have them. And so we heard the whimpering. So we brought them in. I had in my spare bedroom when the house was still up. We had a big cardboard box, and I made a big dog coop, put in a big blanket in it for them, and had her water dish out and her food dish. And we could hear this puppy just whining and screaming. And okay, Harmony's been in with the darn puppies again. Well, sure enough, and it was always Cooter. He was the only one with the really dark black mask, and he lost it as he got older. And she'd had that puppy, took it out, and didn't she drop him? And she dropped him right in the water dish. So he's yelping, trying to get, and he can't because his eyes are closed, right? Well, when he was once all the other puppies, we got homes for all the other puppies. He was I'd say about 2 months old. And I could hear this whimpering and whimpering and whimpering. And my son says, "Where's Harmony?" I said, "I don't know. Where is she?" And I said, "Oh, she's done something to Cooter again." Sure enough, I used to have a front loading washing machine. And I had my pantry and where my laundry room was. And I had a big gallon of blackstrap molasses. Well, she took Cooter and she said he was dirty. She didn't come and tell us. He was whimpering and whimpering, and we went and found him inside the washing machine, and she poured blackstrap molasses on him. and he was totally covered in it. This little red dog, and we called her, and she come in. She's only 2 years old. He was dirty. Grandma, I put him in Grandma's washing machine. And of course, instead of grabbing my laundry soap, she grabs molasses, and this dog is totally covered in black strap molasses. But you know what? That dog still loved him. Slept with her all the time, chased her, did everything with her.
Lucy, I appreciate that. I just want to stop something in chat right now, because these are my people, and Tiger, so Tiger does not deserve what is happening to her right now. And so I'd like for all of you to stop. Everybody farms and homesteads a different way. You cannot, what works for one does not work for another. And there are a lot of farmers here and a lot of homesteaders here that it is worth it. The rule of law, only the strong survive. So whether she knew that she could save a egg-bound hen, who cares? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I've had an egg-bound hen, and I fed it yogurt, and we soaked it, and we did all this other garbage. It was a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of attention taken off of the homestead. And I should have just put the poor hen out of its misery and then threw it in a crock pot. That would have been better. And I'm not being harsh. I'm just saying we need to understand everybody is at a different level and a different position. And so I don't want y'all thinking, well, she's your favorite or whatever. You guys, none of you are my favorite. I love all of my peoples equally. And I'm just saying, let's not judge each other, and, let's work together. And maybe instead of saying, well, you just didn't try hard enough, say, here's what worked for me. Possibly this could work for you, right? Tone is everything. Yep. Tone is everything.
That's right.
And so, so let's do that. And, so I don't know, maybe I'm losing something in the chat or something like that, but that's kind of how I was picking it up. But let's go to a positive note. And so Aaron actually said 8 people were in, there were 8 likes, and that was the deal. If we had 8 people in and had 8 likes, I would share this recipe. So y'all, give you a couple minutes. If you weren't in here, then hopefully you have a pen and paper close. So I'm going to give you the recipe. So you want to start between 4.5 to 5 pound rabbit. You can do larger if you want to. And what you're going to do is you're going to cut it into pieces. So basically get the thighs off. Then you want to take the legs off. Then you want to get those back straps off, which is the tenderloin, and then cut that meat. Look and see what you, right, Tamara, you do what you can. And so, you can get everything in there. You can start looking up advanced ways. The bigger the rabbit gets, there's bacon, there's all kinds of stuff that you can do in there. Then what you want to do with those pieces, you're just going to salt it just to taste whatever you like. I use red bean salt. And then you're going to do a 1/2 pound of carrot sliced, and then a 1/2 pound of celery sliced, and then 5 ounces of chopped red onion, which is 1 small whole onion. If it's a large one, it's probably going to be about half of that. And then take the parsley chopped, and you're just going to spread that on there to taste. Then what you're going to do is you take your carrots, you take your celery, your onion, and what I do is I just tossed them and then did all of that. Then I put the rabbit on top of that, did the parsley in there because I wanted the rabbit to get some of that parsley as well. And then, so then you do that. And then, so then you take your garlic, and that's going to be to taste. I like a lot of garlic. Thank God Jonathan likes a lot of garlic. So we had fun with the garlic, and it was delicious. And so then what I did is I took rosemary and sage, and I chopped all of that up, and I did fresh. And so with the rosemary, I used probably, because I like a strong Italian herb. And so I used 5 to 6 sprigs of rosemary. And then with the sage, I just went out to the garden, clipped, and then I thought, that ought to be perfect. Got in like, those leaves might have been a little bit bigger than I thought. So I just took enough to roll up and then chopped that, and then got those down and diced them. Mm-hmm. And then you take and so then later on, it'll say, you want mustard, and this is all dried mustard, coriander, and then that kind of thing. And so I was like, I had bought coriander, so I know I have the spice somewhere. it's either in Skane's vehicle in Louisiana, lost in my truck somewhere, or I accidentally threw it away. So I was like, oh, what's a good substitute? So I went out and I got more herbs. And so I put everything together. And what I did with that is then that's the point that I got the thyme and, you know, some of the stronger ones. I put more thyme in. I got my cilantro. So cilantro is really good for a replacement for coriander. And I threw those together and mixed those together and put them in. And I probably did with that, I'm going to say probably a good, I don't know, if you put it in the palm of your hand, maybe half of a quarter cup is what I had in that. It was very generous. And so I put those together, took all of the herbs, set those aside. I did not layer any of that onto that. And then what I did is you take 4 cups of red wine. I used a Chianti. And then, you know, it was funny because the bottle was big. And I was like, well, we'll see if this 4 cups works. And I said, Jonathan, if it was at 9 o'clock in the morning, this is kind of how you do it. Wine for the recipe, wine for the chef. And then you just kind of do that. And then he looked at the bottle. He goes, or another batch. And I was like, yeah, you're right. It's 9 a.m. Throw it in the fridge. And so it'll probably never get drank until I make rabbit again. And then you do that. And then you want a, let's see, I've got it written down here. And then you're going to take a quarter cup of red wine vinegar. And you're going to mix the wine and the vinegar together. And then what I did is I went ahead and I took some of the herbs because I've mixed them at this point. And I took half of the batch and I went ahead and I drizzled it to make sure it was even over everything. Took the other half, mixed that into the wine and vinegar, threw some pepper on, did that kind of thing. And then you're going to pour the mixture of the herbs and the red wine vinegar and the wine in there, and then mix it all together and then just pour it over and layer it. And so then at this point, you're going to stick it in the refrigerator. It needs to marinate for several hours. I did it at 9 o'clock. I didn't start cooking until 4 o'clock. That worked out pretty well. 4 o'clock, 3:45. And so that worked out pretty well. It was delicious. Like I said, we were falling over. I could not imagine how good it would have been if I'd actually had a thawed out rabbit last night and soaked it overnight. So overnight's not a bad idea, but at least several hours. And then once you're done with that, then take it to the stove, 45 minutes at 350, just a regular bake 350, 45 minutes, and then make sure it's covered. The dish needs to be covered, and then go ahead and let that sit. At the 45-minute mark, you're going to pull it, go ahead, pull it, check it, take the lid off, or if you used aluminum foil, take the aluminum foil off. And then I went to convection roast, excuse me. If you have that setting, you want to take it up to 400, and then you're going to go about 15 minutes until it's evenly roasted. If you do not have that setting, then you're going to take your stove up to 425 degrees, and then until everything is evenly roasted. And the wine reduction, it actually starts reducing. It is not going to get thick. There's no flour, anything like that in there. But the liquid you will see is going to reduce, and that's what you want, because the rabbit is soaking all of that up. And so it's getting all of that. Then you can take that out and rest. Now, what I did during the roasting period is I took red potatoes and I went ahead and I quartered those. So, like the little triangle type deals, I quartered those and put them on a baking sheet. And then I took olive oil, tossed them in the olive oil, and I took Italian seasoning and everything bagel seasoning, and I tossed it in that. And then while I was doing the final roasting on it, I threw those in the oven. Oh my gosh. Everybody was like, I don't know what's better, the rabbit recipe or the potatoes. Like everybody was in heaven. So simple. It was like a gourmet meal. It was delicious. I couldn't believe it. All of us were thrown back. So do you guys want the version with the dry? Because I know not everybody has the ability to have fresh. Just the herbs is all we have to go over. So if you want that, we'll just do sidebar on that. If you want that, if you're going to do dry, and that only comes up when you're doing the red wine. So you won't, the only fresh herbs that you're going to have at that point is the sage, rosemary, and that's it. And then, so or in the and parsley. You could do dried parsley. I could see you being able to do that. And you guys know the difference. Dried don't use as much, or I'm sorry, don't use as much fresh as what you would use with the dried, because dried is more constituted. And so that would be half a teaspoon of crushed black pepper, half a teaspoon of coriander, and half a teaspoon of mustard, dried mustard. So that's it. That's what you would put in there. Isn't that a super simple recipe? It's like, that's everything right off the farm. And because Garen's sitting there looking at me, he's like, is this something we could do in austere times? And I said, well, I don't know. Can you make me red wine? He goes, you know I can. I said, I also know you can make me red wine vinegar. So yeah, this is something we can do in austere times. And I think that would be absolutely amazing over an open fire. I'm going to have to try that this fall.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's funny is Karen in here, she said, sorry I'm late. I had to process rabbit. And then here you are saying rabbit recipe.
Hopefully she got
right
it.
on time.
Yeah. If not,
right on the cue.
Play back.
Yeah, if not, play it back. The recipe's there. And so, oh, I'm telling you, that recipe is to die for. I couldn't believe it. I was like, and that's what I'm saying. Poor Skane's girl's coming in tomorrow, and we're going to try to save her some. I don't think there's going to be any left over. So we'll see. I'm literally, like, I am not a bone sucker. And so, and I did put sausage in there. So the Sicilian way is you would half a sausage and then put those in there too. And so I did do that. But but that was an extra, not part. This is the original recipe. I just did the sausage because that's kind of how we are. And so if the rabbit was larger, like I said, I would have taken those tenderloins out, made the sausage with that, added it in that way. But yeah, so yeah, I'm not a bone sucker. I'm not one of those that sits at the table and just like picking it out. You know what I'm saying? And tonight I was that person. I'm not gonna lie.
That sounds like a good recipe for wild rabbit too, because I get a lot of wild rabbit.
Yeah. Well, because you got to think about it that, well, like you were saying with the chicken, that vinegar and the wine, it's breaking that down, it's tenderizing. That's why it's so important that you have enough hours in order to do that. And everybody needs to realize, you know, especially in Italy, rabbit is very, very common. It's a staple there. And so if you want any good recipes and you like Italian food, do that. If you like rabbit and you want some good recipes, then French would be a good way to go. So, but they're everywhere.
See, I was told once that this is a few years back. If I was really interested in raising lots of rabbits, that the Italian community in Ontario here, they would buy them right fresh from you by the pound.
When we were in Missouri, the Russians would come in and they would buy them, and so we sold a lot of rabbit. But at that point, the way to do that and keep up with it, we had to raise them colony. So we didn't have them in hutches and do all that. We just let them breed and do their own thing and sold them as they grew. And it was really funny. We had one guy, him and his daughter came in. She was the translator for him. And he was so funny. He actually taught Garen how to sex the animals. And so he would pick up a baby and he would like take and spread his finger and he would boink. And that's exactly how he did it. Boink, and then put it away. And then he'd go grab another one and he was like, okay, and then hand it to his daughter. And so they were just kind of doing it that way. But that's why if you ever hear Garen go, boink, that's why. So it was like, that's how, and so now that's how he teaches everybody else. So it's kind of funny. But yeah, no, very, very interesting. So, but yeah, no, rabbit is delicious. If you know how to make it. You got to know how to tenderize it. You got to know how to make it. And so, you know, Garen's like, gosh, we haven't had rabbit in such a long time. Like, I keep telling you since we moved here, get the rabbits together. And he's like, well, it's too late in the year. Too late in the year right now. Like, not to get them. If we come across a good deal, we'll get them out there. Doesn't mean we have to breed them right now. So
no, but you get yourself established with a couple of those and a buck. And by the time, get them at a certain age, and by the time spring comes around for you guys, it's ready for them. They'll let you know when they're ready to breed. They'll start banging their legs, those bucks.
Yep.
Those bucks get really demanding. They just start pounding their back legs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's nothing to hear the goats and, the the rams, they're all banging, and then the rabbits are banging, and all happens at the same time. And so, in fact, I've got goats out there I want to strangle right now. And so I have some ewes that are in heat. I don't want them bred. I particularly in February do not want to be standing outside in 26 below zero weather or in January birthing. So I would much rather them just stay well away from her. And everybody is just chasing her around. I feel so bad for her. And so, you know, but she's pretty good about
on her. Pair of pants or a diaper.
You come on over and you can help me catch her, and I'll let you take the hind end and try to get them on her. So, I mean, they're big. We don't, especially our breeders. Our breeders are big. They'll knock you out. So you got to be really careful. But the only reason why we go and purposely go out there and get in the mix is when we're going to butcher. So, but we got, as soon as it cools down, Garen was right. Both freezers are like all the meat's gone. So now we can take all the lamb that we have out there. We can butcher it. We just got to wait for these flies to go away. Once we do that and it gets cooler weather, we're going to put them all in. Yeah, Ashley, yeah, your lamb's coming. It's a common. So
I can blow cold weather down to you.
Yeah,
I can blow cold weather down to you.
Yeah,
I got a wood stove on right now.
Wait until after festival season, please, because we still have, we've got the Midwest, and then we've got Kentucky, and then we have to be in Tennessee. Once we're done with those, I will let you know, and then you can send us all the cold weather you want so that we can get these processed and done. But yeah, no, not while we're on the road. Kentucky especially, because snow does come in there. My garden's
still going crazy. My zucchini plants are still 5 feet tall. I thought they had no flowers after I picked everything. And I'm saying, well, I'm going to have to start pulling and whatever, right? Clean up my beds. Nope. They just, the next day they were right full of flowers and I got about 10 zucchinis out there again.
Right. Yeah. Everybody's like, don't send your cold weather terminator. Don't do it. We still have vegetables coming in. I'm pulling Kiwana out of my eyeball. I mean, they're just coming out everywhere. In fact, people were over today going through the bamboo, the dried bamboo we had. And I'm like, here, have a Kiwana, go plant the seeds. Here, have a Kiwana, go plant the seeds. Hey,
here's some of my tomatoes.
Oh, yeah, nice. And so then they were going through and getting the seeds off of the comfrey. And I'm like, why don't you just wait? I have to split that in the fall anyway. It still needs to be harvested, and I'll split it. And they're like, well, can't we plant the seeds? Sure, do it the hard way. I don't care. You know, go ahead. But I'm offering you roots. So, you know, but no, seeds are fine. Okay, great, fine. Have at it. And the one that took it, she's pretty good about getting those propagated and doing all that anyway. So I'm not worried about it. She'll have it done. She'll have comfrey, probably not as big as mine, but have comfrey the same time I do next year. And with those seeds. And because she'll put them in the greenhouse all year. And then we have other things. We got volunteer tomatoes everywhere. I think I told you that. That's bizarre. Yeah. So I told her, I'm like, just look around and take whatever tomatoes you want, except from, I said, that was intentional. And this portion was intentional. Everything else, take a walk and then go make sure you're collecting tomatoes so you can get those seeds. Those are the seeds you want. Anything that's voluntary. And interesting, I'm not the only one that happened to. So it seems like a lot of us have voluntary tomatoes, places they shouldn't be. And that's what they were like, well, aren't those Tommy toes? You have Tommy toes. And I have Tommy toe seeds. I haven't planted them yet. My intention was to plant them, and I was going to get them in this year, this last spring. I never got it done because we had so much coming up and so much to do. I missed that timetable to do it. So those will go in the spring. But only eat rabbits in a month. In a month with a R in it. Really? I wonder why. Mooseman, why? That's interesting.
That's like with oysters.
Why, like it doesn't taste good, or?
Well, with the oysters, it's cold enough.
Oh, maybe when you catch them and butcher them? Is that what it means? Okay. Maybe. So these were already butchered, so we could cook it now. But oh, I could see that because any month with an R in it's going to be pretty cold. Mm-hmm. You're not going to have the place and all that. I could totally see that if that's what that is. Yeah. That makes sense. There's an old wives' tale rule of thumb right there. I'm gonna have to write that one down.
I've always known that for oysters. That's always been a thing growing up.
Yeah, really.
Yep.
Yeah. See, we were in when we were in San Diego. The water is always usually cold. We didn't have the warm water like what you guys have, and so it was cold water. So you could pretty much get barnacles and all of that stuff anytime you wanted, and we didn't have to worry about that. But summer has parasites. What? Yeah, true. Yeah, but not domestic rabbits. And honestly, to be honest with you, when you're starving and in the middle of the Iranian missile crisis and your mother's trying to figure out how to feed you, we don't care if there's an hour in a month. We just shoot. So, fried rabbit it was. I much more enjoyed tonight's rabbit recipe. So,
well, of course, yeah.
Yeah. Now, possum, I knew you don't want possum. You don't even want the dogs to eat possum during the summer because of the parasites. So, red tide. See, we didn't have that in California either. Yeah, you get that in warmer water, but yeah, no, we didn't have that. So it's all that climate change. They're trying to help you. So, yeah. Government's just trying to help you. None of this was man created. Has nothing to do with all the drilling and all that happening off the coast.
Oh yeah, because All American, his stepdad, he used to always say, never when a government person comes up, oh, I'm here to help. Yeah, right. Okay.
That was Ronald Reagan said it best. I'm from the government and I am here to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was in the I can't even say Vietnam. There we go. Vietnam War. And he was all like, that's where he learned not to trust the government.
Yeah. We are from the government and we are here to save you. Yep. Unbelievable. But we were actually talking about that and propaganda and that kind of stuff. That's been the topic the last few days in our household. And was when Skane's girl was here, she's like, yeah, you got to be careful with what's on in the background. And I'm trying to be careful with what's on the radio and that kind of thing. And I said, yeah, you have to just be discerning with everything and know when somebody's full of crap, and then just make it entertainment. If you know it's full of crap, just go, oh my God, I can't believe people are stupid enough to believe this, but kind of makes it nice.
The bumper cars and every fucking thing.
Yeah, I got my name on the list for the Canadian Brassie chickens for eggs.
Oh,
yeah, I contacted the lady again because we keep in contact, and I asked her if she'll have some towards the spring, and she said, yeah, no problem. It's $80 for a dozen, so I'm going to get them, but I'm going to make sure I have a better upgraded incubator than what I have.
At that price, you better make sure you do. And then, and you want to make sure. So what I found when I'm hatching the breast eggs, the Brassie eggs hatch a lot like turkey eggs. So their humidity is a little bit different than regular chicken eggs. So I noticed that, but I mean, you do you. I ended up having to wet. I just took the magic eraser, 2 of them, and I wet them down and keep them soaked, and then put them in the incubators. And it actually helped monitor the humidity, so it did work pretty well. But I think
if I could get a chicken or a duck to sit, then I'd throw them under a chicken or a duck, a few of them. You know what I mean? So then I would get them. So we'll see.
That price,
we'll see when spring comes.
But I don't know. That's high. Dang that. Well,
that's okay though. You know what? My dad said if you want something good, you got to pay for it. So
that's true. And I guess in reality, they're $55 for a dozen eggs here in the U.S. So I think with the conversion, that's probably about right. Yeah. And I wish you were closer. Or you came to visit or something. We'd figure out how to let you smuggle eggs back.
Hey, I'll tell you a story about smuggling.
What kind of marijuana did you get into now?
Actually, this was, oh gosh, how many years ago it was? It was quite a few years back, good 15 years ago. This was way before you didn't have to have a passport to cross the border to drive into the States.
I remember
And
those days.
I had an elderly lady I used to take care of. I knew her since I was a little girl, and she got me to drive her everywhere. So I helped her with her husband when he died and everything. And she had lent money to my uncle to go to bingo. So they went to bingo. He won at bingo, so he took the money and he bought himself some scratch tickets. He won $50,000.
Whoa.
So they asked me, I said, I will not drive to Toronto. I hate Toronto. I don't like the city. So they got me to go to Sault Ste. Marie, which is a 6-hour drive north of me, and which is on the border, right, of Michigan. Well, they got me to go into Michigan, and they wanted to go to the Coyton Casino and play. So by the time we got all the money and everything sorted, away we went to the border. And I went in and I told them what we were doing and everything. And so away we went. They let us go, and I'm driving along, and I got these Americans passing me like there's no tomorrow on this 2-lane highway. And I'm saying, boy, everybody's driving awful fast here. And my friend turned around and says, well, how fast are you driving? And I said, well, the sign says 70 kilometers an hour. That's 70 miles an hour, lady. You're driving too slow.
Oh, that's funny.
So we get there parked, and my uncle's French. And my uncle's French, and he can't read. He can't read or write. He writes an X for his name. Yeah. Anyways, we get in there, we're playing at the casino and everything. Then we get our motel room. We get one room, so my friend and I share the bed, and we get a cot for my uncle. Well, we're in a store shopping and everything, and I had to mark down everything that we were going to bring back over the border. He didn't tell me that he snuck out to her car and stuffed these Camel cigarettes, cartons and cartons, under the driver's seat. I'm driving, I get back. Well, I've got all these, I get in there and at the border, and there's this poor family with little kids, and they are totally stripping this vehicle to pieces. I mean, taking the seats out and everything. That really scared me. And I walk in there with my lift, and I show them, and I'm trembling, and I've got these guards all around me with guns and everything. It's all new to me. I'd never been in anything like that. And they turn around, checked everything off. They said, you're fine and everything. We get going home, and we stop at a restaurant halfway to have something to eat. And we get back, and I said, okay, I'll drop my uncle off first, and I'll help carry his stuff up. Well, I carry his stuff up to his apartment. He comes back down, and I go to get in, and he pushes me out of the way. He says, no, no, no. And all of a sudden he gets down on his knees, and he's pulling these damn packs of cartons of cigarettes out. I could have got nailed so bad I could have went to jail for that. I couldn't believe it. I said, mon oncle, that's uncle in French. And I said, why would you do that to me? If I ended up going to jail, you'd be stuck right there at the border. But you know what?
You didn't know that's why you got away with it. I guarantee you, because you didn't know that's how you got away with it. And so we used to do worse to each other coming back from Mexico. And so, yeah, no, who is the more gentle, innocent person of the group? That's the one that's going to have to do the claims. Yeah. So little Miss Prepper and I can go back and forth to Mexico all the time. Nobody else can come with. Of course, now you don't want to, but anyway, back then you would have been the patsy.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
But no, it's always fun to pick on somebody, and believe me, I've been the patsy a time or two and had no idea. So both from America to Mexico and Mexico to America. Yeah, it's freaking weird, but anyway, it's kind of the way that it is. So, well, ladies, I do have company with me, and hopefully he went and did his homework that I gave him. So I don't want to be rude. Although I want to be with you. So you need to know this. Thursday, I will not be with y'all. Thursday night, we have a very, very important meeting. That is what I sent Jonathan in to go study on. I saved every single paper, every single pamphlet, flyer, everything that I've collected over, I don't know how long I've been complaining, a month and a half at least, if not more. And so I sent him in, and I'm like, go study. This is what we're fighting on Thursday. And he's like, okay. And so, anyway, but yeah. And Juarez, Juarez is one I would not want to get in trouble. at least in Tijuana, that's one of those states that, the officer just says, give me your phone number and I'll let you off. I've got Garen out of trouble that way. So you just give them a fake phone number. They don't know. So they just think you're an innocent white girl, here you go.
Yeah, I've been up since 6 this morning dealing with birds.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting tired.
Yeah, are you? Okay. I'm sorry, little Miss Prepper. You know how it is. And then
I had fun anyway.
I got to get my rest because I have skeins. I've got my crash squirrel coming in tomorrow, and I've got cinnamon rolls galore. I've got to get out tomorrow and finish everything up by Wednesday at noon because we need to get out and get everything set up at camp. So
I got cabbage to do tomorrow. I got potatoes to do canned tomorrow, and I got to pick the rest of my cabbage out of the garden tomorrow and pick all my tomatoes before I lose them all.
Yeah.
So I got to start early in the morning.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you ladies, and hopefully we can catch up with me anyway. Hopefully I can catch up with you Monday after. So make sure you send me the link.
Okay.
But Thursday for sure, I will jump on and then make sure that we at least try to share it and get it to our page. So if I remember, we'll be so busy. I'm not even going to lie. Hopefully I'll catch it Sunday or Monday and remember to do that. But I don't know. We've got so many people. Our house is full. Life Doesn't Freeze house is full. And then God bless her, Milk Lady, she's so sweet. And she's like, well, if there's no room at the ends, she's like, our downstairs is free. I'm like, so you're going to let a bunch of people that you don't really know come over and stay here? Seriously? And she kind of looked at me and she goes, oh, yeah. Not that they're bad people, but, she's just not, she's very guarded, I guess. Not guarded, like doesn't want to get to know anybody, but reserved. That would be the best way to put it.
Yeah.
So where these people, they've been traveling, they haven't been able to talk to anybody, that kind of thing. They want to get in front of you, and that's all they do is talk. And you just got to be able to still cook and do all of that and go, and recognize what they're saying. And if you don't quite hear what they're saying or you got it backwards, because I'll do that. I'll be processing something and it came in backwards and I have to go, wait, what? Yeah. And so, what hurts me, what kills me is that talking with Jonathan sometimes is the same as talking to Skane's girl. And so they'll tell you what they think is the same story, but there's 3 different orders and how things went. And so it never makes sense in the middle. And you have to go, wait, what? And finally, Jonathan stopped and he's like, oh, yeah, I guess I didn't give that to you in order. And I looked at him and I go, you are like talking to Skanes. I have to filter everything and try to decode what you're saying. And we just started laughing. We give her a hard time, but we love her, guys. So, but
she's a sweetheart.
Yeah, she really is. She take the shirt off her back for you. I'm telling you, she's great.
Oh yeah.
Y'all were talking earlier about your older dogs that had passed. That's terrible. This is my old girl. She's 14, going to be 15 in December.
Oh wow. Is that a border collie?
Good and healthy.
No, she's a Chihuahua Rat Terrier mix.
Okay, thank God, because I thought that's what I was having to look forward to. Is 15 years adult.
My daughter's dog. That's the sister to my dog. Has almost identical same face, but more boogie eyes like the Chihuahua.
Yeah.
But she's just exactly like that, with white with black spots all on her back.
Do either of you have turkeys in your homes?
Turkeys?
Turkeys. Do you have turkeys?
Chicks? Gobblers?
No, like beep 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 beep. Turkey chicks. Do you have turkey chicks in your house right now in a brooder? Okay.
Nope.
I'm sorry. I gotta go because that means I got chicks still out of the coop.
Okay.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah.
If it's dark there, that's scary because they'll be hard to find if they're dark. Yeah. But right. I'm gonna go too because I'm pretty tired and I got a big day ahead of me tomorrow. And my husband just pulled a whole bunch of logs out for me to finish my roof for my duck house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I want to get up early. I got to get up early because the early part of the morning from 6 o'clock when it's daylight till about 9, 10 o'clock, I feed the animals, and then I'm out working on, if I'm not outside working, I'm in here. I got potatoes. I got 100 pounds of potatoes. I got to start washing, cleaning, cutting, and jarring and canning.
Yeah,
that's the only way I can keep my potatoes here.
You do have a good full day.
Oh yeah, big time, big time. And if it's windy, I have a hard time because I do it out on a barbecue.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, my husband was just asking me if I turn the crock pot back on. I made him homemade vegetable soup with all the vegetables, onions, everything from here, and then our homegrown sausage, tomato basil sausage, and I cut it up and I seared it a bit, browned it a bit, and everything, and put it in and put the crock pot on for him, and it cooked all day.
Oh, sounds good.
Yeah. We got it. We have to get the meat used up that we have because I've got the pigs that we butchered. There's about 400 pounds of meat, and we divide it. So I got about 200 pounds of meat coming on the weekend to put in the freezer. Yeah, I'm all set for winter. Yep. Anyways, you guys take care. Take care, everybody. Stay safe and go live a life done free.
Yes. Everybody have a blessed evening, and hopefully we'll see everybody in the chat next Thursday. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Everybody have a wonderful evening.
Take care.